CrossFit, we often talk about how it is completely inclusive. Everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter if it's your grandmother or your grandchild, it doesn't matter if it's your friend that's never trained before in their life or your friend that's got an athletic career behind them. Everybody can come in and do the same workout. Now, how is that possible? I'm going to attempt to show you that using one of the movements that we commonly use in CrossFit called a thruster. Now, this movement is a squat with an overhead press. Okay, so the bar comes into front rack position, you squat and drive it straight up overhead, usually in a repeated number of reps. That bar could have plates on each end and could be heavier, so it's 15 kilos at the moment, but it could be considerably more than that, okay? Now, I appreciate when somebody's very new to fitness and they see that movement, they'll go, I can't do that, so I'm not going to go to CrossFit, that's stupid. Okay, I expect that, okay, so what can we do? How can we make it more doable for somebody? Well, this looks a bit less threatening, right? So the broomstick, same positioning, squat, overhead. Most people are going to be able to lift that overhead without too much issue. Not everybody, okay? So sometimes the very mechanics and the strength and the balance and the coordination for a squat is what's lacking and needs to be worked on. So, if we've got a movement that is a weighted squat with an overhead press, how can we scale that so that your grandmother could do it? Of course, your grandmother might be incredibly fit. Let's look at something like this, okay? So, we could have them seated. That allows them to go to a height that's maybe taking their thighs to about parallel. It could be higher than this or it could be lower than this, okay? That way, they can stand and go overhead. Now, whether they were using a bar overhead, a stick overhead, or a dumbbell, or a water bottle, all those things are options as well. That still allows them to make sure that they're not going to fall over, they feel safe, they can concentrate on getting their feet into position, and their knees into position, their posture, without worrying about wobbling around or not being able to do it. So, we've got a movement that can go from a fully loaded barbell, to a broomstick, to using something like a stool or a seat for them to squat to. We could do this movement as well with dumbbells, which is a slightly easier range for going overhead. So one dumbbell in your hand, your other hand free. That's going to make the overhead slightly more achievable. We can load things appropriately, heavier or lighter, scaling the movement pattern, but keeping the very essence of the movement is exactly the same. And what this does is it leads a direct path so that somebody can go from here, to here, to here, and then adding weights over time, if that is what they want.